Hey y'all, welcome to Nini's Texas Kitchen. Today we're gonna make some homemade cinnamon rolls. They taste like cinnamon, but they're even better because they come out of Nini's kitchen. So here's the stuff that you're gonna need to make these. I use my bread maker to make the dough in because that's easier than sitting here kneading it by hand. You can do that if you want to, but I prefer letting this do the hard work for me. So if you don't have a bread maker, you can do it by hand, but if you do have one, I highly recommend it. So what you're gonna need to make it for the dough is you're gonna need 6 ounces of milk. Now it can be whole, 2%, skim, it don't matter. Just 6 ounces of milk, okay? I've never used soy milk or almond milk or anything like that, so I don't know how it would turn out with that, but you know, feel free to experiment. That's what I do. So 6 ounces of milk goes in your bread pan. Then you need 1 egg. Medium to large is fine. That in there. Rinse your fingers. You don't want egg stuff all over all your stuff. Okay. Then you're gonna need 3 cups of bread flour. And I've already measured mine out, that's why it's in this bowl. And then you're gonna put that into your bread pan. Take a spoon and just make sure that you push your flour over all into the corners, covering up all the liquid. Tap the side of the pan because that helps settle everything down off the sides down to the bottom of the pan. Once you get that done, then you need to add 3 tablespoons of sugar. So I measured mine out, put it in a cup. 3 tablespoons white sugar. And just sprinkle it over the top of the flour in the bread pan evenly. Okay? Once you do that, you're going to take, you get a half of a teaspoon of salt. So, my little measuring spoons. I'm just going to measure half a teaspoon here of salt. And then sprinkle that evenly, just like you did the sugar over the flour and sugar combo there. Now, take your spoon again and just spread it out real even. And then you're going to take your spoon and dip a little like divot down in the flour just slightly. And that's where, when you're done with your butter, you'll put your yeast, and you can see my little divot right here. Okay. Then this recipe calls for 4 tablespoons of butter or margarine cut into 8 pieces. So I already have this measured out. This is 4 tablespoons. So I'm going to cut it into 8 pieces by cutting it. So there's 4. And now I'm just going to go the other way, long ways, and make it 8. Alright. Then you have to take each little piece and put it in all 4 corners of your bread pan, like this. And then on each side, just so it's evenly spaced, because that'll help it mix better whenever your bread maker's mixing it all up in the pan. Then you take your yeast packet, and you just need 1 for this recipe. Cut the corner off, put it in your little divot that you made. It's like a little well, little bed for the yeast there to lay in. Alright. Once you get that done, put it in your bread maker. Lock it in. Then on the cycle, you're going to choose dough. And then that's it. Then you let it go. And in the bread maker, it takes about 1.5 hours. And then once it's done, we'll come back and we'll show you how to roll it out and get it ready. Hey y'all, my bread maker just went off, so my dough is ready. So I've got some flour here on my rolling mat, and it's a silicone rolling mat. It just helps to keep your counters from getting quite as messy, so I like to use that sometimes. And so once your dough is ready in your bread maker, just take it out, and then you'll dump it out on your mat. That big old hunk of dough looks good. Now what you have to do is knead it just a little bit in the flour for about, the recipe usually says a minute, but I just like flip it over like maybe 6, 7, 8 times, something like that, and then I just let it rest. So you let it rest now for 15 minutes. So I let it rest for 15 minutes. I set my timer for 15 minutes. And when I'm doing that, I go ahead and turn my oven on to 350, and it's already set for 350. And I let it preheat. Because once my dough is done resting for 15 minutes, that's when I roll it out and prep it with the butter, cinnamon, sugar, roll it up and cut them. Okay? So I'll go ahead and get my pan ready. You have to spray it with non-stick spray so that your dough and your sugar won't stick to it. So when we get ready to roll it out, then I put butter on it and spread that all around, and then I'll mix my brown sugar and my cinnamon. So we can go ahead and do that part now. So the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of cinnamon. I just like to use a regular spoon because it's easier to reach down in there and get it. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now that it's mixed in there, I mix it all up together. And I used a cup of dark brown sugar. Now you can use light brown sugar, that's fine. You can use regular white sugar if you want to. It's just, I think that the brown sugar makes the cinnamon rolls have a better flavor, and it's sweet and more gooey. Like we all like gooey cinnamon rolls. All right. So as you can see, I've just mixed it up. If any of my brown sugar has little lumps in it, I just smash them with my spoon. But it don't have to be perfectly uniform because they're going inside of a cinnamon roll. All right. So I have all that ready, and you can see it looks more sugary now that I've added in that cinnamon because it kind of helps to dry out some of that moisture from the molasses that's in the brown sugar, so that it'll spread easy when you get ready. All right. So you may be asking, why do I have a stick of butter, some cream cheese, and some powdered sugar here? And I also need to get out one more ingredient. I also have some vanilla. So the vanilla and the cream cheese, butter, and powdered sugar are for making our cream cheese frosting that will spread all over the top of our rolls once they're done. But we'll make that in just a little while once our rolls are ready to sit and rise for a while. So let me know if you like my video. Please like it, comment, and share it. We'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so our dough has rested now, and the oven has preheated. So now we're going to roll it out. So you take your rolling pin and you just start rolling your dough. You want it to end up being about 15 inches long by about 10 inches wide when you get done rolling it out. So it's not going to stay on my silicone mat because it's not quite as big as the dough will be when I get done with it. And And your dough doesn't have to be perfectly like rectangular looking because you're going to roll it up anyway. So that part is done. So now you need to take some butter or margarine and you spread it on there. Now I normally use my hands to do it because this is Nini's Texas Kitchen and we do things the country way around here, but you can use like a paper towel or whatever and just get a good scoop of it and then just apply it to your dough all the way to the edges, like so. It's just a base coat to help keep your dough moist while it's cooking, and it also will help your brown sugar and cinnamon mixture to adhere to it real good. All right. So that part is done. Then just take your cinnamon and brown sugar mixture and just sprinkle it generously all over your dough. Okay. Then you're going to take it and you're going to roll it. Roll it up. So if you've ever made like a sponge cake that you roll up, you know, like a jelly roll or whatever, it's the same concept as doing that. So you roll it up and then you pinch the edge together pretty firmly to make sure that it sticks to itself. Okay? And don't worry about it having a little ridge like a dinosaur bony back or whatever. That's not going to matter because it's going to flatten out once you get ready to cut them. Okay? So this recipe makes 12 cinnamon rolls. So I just smashed that down. Now, the best way to cut these, to make them cut smooth and even, is to use some dental floss or some fishing line if you have it. So since I need 12 rolls that are going to be as even sized as I can make them, I'm going to kind of go right where it looks like the center, kind of eyeball that, and then just crisscross your line and pull, and then boom, you have a perfect cut. And then I just do it again in the center of that, approximately the center, doesn't have to be exact. And then I do the same thing on the other half. They don't have to be perfectly uniform. These are homemade, okay? You're not trying to be, you know, perfection or anything. You slice. If it comes undone, just pinch it again real good to keep it together. And then slice one more time. Boom, like that. Then you're going to start taking them and layer them in your prepared pan where you spray it with non-stick cook spray. All right, just like so. Okay, and cut up some more and repeat the process. So you're going to basically take these little 4 sections that you did and you're going to cut them into thirds. All right, and then that'll give you 12 rolls. Some of your rolls will be really super huge, some of them will be smaller, but that don't matter. Some people want a small one, some people want a large one whenever they're eating a cinnamon roll. Some of us are trying to watch our girlish figures, and some of us don't have them, so we ain't worried about it. We just want to enjoy our daggone cinnamon roll. So, there. We got them all cut up. Just finish placing them all in here, and you kind of shape them how you want to shape them when you get them in there. You're kind of evenly spacing them because they're going to have to rise for a little bit. Which is why I went ahead and preheated my oven. So now I have all my cinnamon rolls lined up in there. So the next step is you want a clean, dry towel, and you're going to take it and set it near wherever your oven vents, where the warmth is coming up through there, okay? And not right directly on it, kind of indirect warmth from the oven that you're heating up. And then cover it with that clean, dry towel. And set your timer for about 35 or 45 minutes. I'm just going to split the difference and do 40. And they're going to rise, okay? And then while they're rising, we'll just get everything cleaned up in the kitchen. And then once they are starting to bake, that's when we'll make our cream cheese frosting. All right, our rolls are done rising. We'll take our towel off. As you can see, they've about doubled in size, which is what you want. All right, so now we'll just go ahead and stick them in our oven and let them bake. So you do it at 350 for about 20 minutes. So you set your timer for 20 minutes and let that go. Now while they're baking, we'll go ahead and make our cream cheese frosting to go on there. Now, you take 8 ounces of cream cheese, and the reason I've had these out is because you want them to sit out and get soft for a while, because it'll mix them up easier and make your frosting smooth, okay? So you go ahead and get out the cream cheese. You can use the low fat or the fat-free if you want to. It don't have to be regular cream cheese. I substitute all the time. Today I'm using the regular cream cheese, but I have used that, I don't know how you say it, Neufchtel cheese that's like a third less fat, that's like cream cheese, but you can use that, that's all I'm saying. Now, I have a whole stick of butter here, but you want half of a stick. So I just cut it in half. I'll take half of it. Then I'll put this back in the fridge to firm up later. So you can use a stand mixer, and I have one. I just don't feel like using it today because it's more cleanup, so I'm just going to use my regular hand mixer and beers. So first thing you want to do is get your butter and your cream cheese blended well and creamed together. As you can see, blend it all up. Now, you'll take, it calls for a 16-ounce box of powdered sugar. I always buy the 32-ounce bag because I like to use it more than just one time to make stuff, so I cook and bake all the time. So, this bag is almost full. It's only had a little bit used out of it. So I'm just going to flatten it out, and then I'm just going to half it. And I'm going to put half of it in there. Like so. Now, it also calls for a teaspoon of vanilla. So mix that in. Now you want to start it out low. And keep your hand over it so it don't fling your powdered sugar out everywhere. And it'll start to mix in. It's still going to fling out a little bit, but that's what damp rags are for. And then it's getting this a little thick. So just get a little bit of milk. And all you do with the milk is you just add a little bit. Because you don't want it to get too thin. It's just enough to keep it moist. So I'm just going to pour a tiny bit in there. And I'll add more if I need to. But a little tiny bit of milk goes a long way whenever you're making frosting. You don't want to get your frosting too runny. And this frosting recipe works great for cupcakes, cake, all kinds of stuff, but it's really, really good on these cinnamon rolls. It's a big hit around here. Our frosting is done. So now we can just set this off to the side and wait for our cinnamon rolls to get done. And in the meantime, we'll enjoy licking us a beater, because that's what we do in Nene's Texas Kitchen. All right, our rolls are done. Check them out, they look good. Couldn't you just eat one of them right now? It's time to ice these babies. So you just be generous, okay? Good Lord above likes it whenever we're generous. So that shouldn't stop with cream cheese frosting. We should be generous with that too. Spread it all around. They're still a little bit warm, so it'll melt down in there in the cracks. And you just be eating delicious all the way through. Big old dollops. And I use a whole big old bowl of frosting on here. Spread it all around. These are good, like if you leave them sitting, you know, overnight, because hopefully you're not going to eat a whole pan of them at night, you know, just saying. But if you do have some left the next day, they're really good. Just take one out, stick it on a saucer, and put it in the microwave for about 15 or 20 seconds. Man, they're warm. It's like they came straight out of the oven again. So that's it. Now we're going to try some. They sure look good, don't they? All right, let's get one. Find my seams. Look at that. Ooh-wee. Don't that look good? One for my husband. They're some of his faves. All right, y'all. We're gonna try them. Ready? Here we go. Perfect. If y'all like watching me make my delicious homemade cinnamon roll, please like, subscribe, and share my video. We'll see y'all next time on Nene's Texas Kitchen.